Hello and welcome to Learning Matters, a podcast for teachers brought to you by the Teacher Foundation. The series of podcasts about all matters related to learning, hence the name of our podcast, Learning Matters. In these podcasts, we will examine, discuss and debate on absolutely everything and anything related to learning. Be it policies, classroom practices, strategies, tools, research, articles, assessments, leadership, teacher well-being, student readiness, social emotional skills, catching my breath, and the list goes on.
I'm delighted to welcome Shukla Bose and Kavita Gupta Sabarwal, two warrior women in school education. Shukla founded the Parikrama Humanity Foundation in 2003 for children from Bangalore slums. She's been a TED speaker, and has contributed towards shaping and influencing education policies at the state and national level. She has received several awards and recognitions for her work in education. Our other warrior is Kavita. She founded and heads the Neve Preschools and Neve Academy. She is also co-founder of the highly popular Neve Literature Festival, which has created a niche for itself in Bangalore school circles. So what has the past 1.5 years meant for you, as a school leader, as a manager of schools, managing children, managing teachers, managing parents?
This 1.5 years has been really difficult. Major world events are often an inflection point for rapid innovation. So we saw a rise of e-commerce after SARS, and we are now seeing the rise of online education after COVID. And that is many times it is a kind of a knee-jerk reaction, because all of us in this room today felt that education shouldn't stop. Learning must continue anywhere, anytime. And we saw even Parikrama, and when I'm talking about Parikrama, I have to say that I'm talking about a totally different spectrum of society. The kids that come to Parikrama are from the slums, and therefore organizing to have them come to online classes, as you can well imagine, has been a huge challenge. But we began Parikrama with the idea is, why should these kids who come from economically challenged backgrounds be left out of everything, even education? So we actually went on a drive, and it has been a painful drive to get devices for our children. And many of you in this room, and I know that Kavita has helped us as well. So we actually also we distributed nearly 1,500 devices to get our children to learn. This 1.5 years has been a year of great adjustment, of flexibility, of actually trying to be innovative. And it's brought in a new routine and a new way of teaching and learning. The challenges have been many for teachers. For instance, many of our teachers come from small houses themselves, and to actually conduct a class from one room with the whole family locked in has been a challenge for them. And students get an intimate view of how the teacher lives, which is good, because I think transparency comes out from there. And I think what has happened, a very interesting analogy would be, schools have become like call centers. You log in and you log out, and how far is it real, the learning that is happening? And that's a question that we need to address. So we in Parikrama realized that our children were starving. They were not getting enough food. So we went in. Whoever thought running a school would mean also distributing food? So we distributed food to our students We gave them weekly rations for 5. We so far distributed about nearly 100,000 meals together, and we continue to do that, because learning can only happen if the children have well-being, and understanding that has been very important for us. So we also did vaccination drives, and it's been an interesting journey for us so far.
Thank you, Shukla. So I'm just going to pass the baton to Kavita. What has been your experience this past 1.5 years? Because you were saying just before we started the pandemic that the teachers never closed down completely. They were coming to school. They were meeting face to face also. So over to you, Kavita.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you. And whenever I listen to Shukla or visit her or interact with her kids, I'm always reminded that the pandemic has underlined the difference that family backgrounds can make to academic success of children better than anything else could, more than anything else could in the world, and I think it's having a full stomach, first of all, and encouraging parents, and a house that is filled with books, and children who have devices and they have a quiet room. They have a very different chance of success than children who don't have all of that, right? And school closures have only widened that gap, and we are cognizant of that. I think, Neve, it is the recognition that that COVID sort of fast forwarded many of the learnings that we would have fought. So 21st century learning, if you want to call it that, it's always been a buzzword. I think it's all the learning that is meant to be 21st century learning has really been preponed by 10 years at least, and many changes that we would not have pushed for, but we imagined in education really got pushed through. The need for clarity in instruction, the need for pedagogy, the need for a shared definition of learning and shared practices. So all of that has come through very, very quickly with this, and I think in that sense, COVID has been a pivotal moment for education. It has challenged all our past knowledge. It has made us question what does the future of education need to be? What do we want it to be as well? And really it's fast forwarded all of that, So I think our experience at Neve has been that there was this burst of globalization of ideas where everyone was sharing. There was just so much sharing happening. We imagined that, we're never really going to go back to physical classrooms again. We're really going to be out there, and we're going to, doing a blend of online learning and offline learning. And then, from that explosion of ideas, there's also been a nationalization movement everywhere. So the world quickly shrunk back again, and as a result of that, so there was lots of sharing, then it was shrinkage, there was this whole online movement, then that's kind of gone back. And we recognize that classrooms really have to be physical. In fact, we've come full circle now to recognizing that hybrid learning doesn't work either, and concurrent learning does not work. So we really are going towards now saying that we are going to, while the option of online learning stays with parents till the time that parents are comfortable, we really are looking at separating the sections of students to the ones who will be in physical classroom and the ones that will be online. Ronald Ross was in Bangalore, the Almora-born physician. He was in Bangalore when he discovered
malaria. Yes.
And he said, at some point, he said that it takes a decade to understand a new idea. And I think it's what COVID has been for us in this last 1.5 years. And truly, we have had the longest global closure of schools has been in India, actually, possibly leaving aside some of the African countries.
That's correct.
If you would want to, but there is no other country that has had as long and as continuous a closure for, we've had, at Neve, we've had our teachers working from school largely in this entire period, and that's made a huge difference to the kind of collaboration that was possible. But we know that most other schools have not had the resources or the ability. People have not had the ability to be able to come out of their homes and deal with the challenges. There have been pay cuts. There have been so many challenges. So we've been one of the lucky few, I would say, a big change, I think, Maya, and I just opened up one of our yearbook paragraphs, and I just want to read that. A big change for many of our children has been service orientation. A recognition that, and I want to read this short paragraph.
Sure.
We came up with, our communication people came up with a yearbook theme of From Survival to Revival. And this student, grade 10 student, wrote this down, and she writes, the concept of survival suggests that my environment is filled with what I refer to as first world problems. And in a sense, this year showed me exactly that. From my personal project dealing with underprivileged children to headlines about rape and migrant workers' struggles, I've had numerous experiences which pushed me to recognize the value of gratitude and understanding. Gratitude because nothing I have felt in my life can compare to the inequity many are charged with. Understanding because my bubble has definitely become porous. I was not forced to fight for survival, but I saw others battling. Hence, I am now able to see the opportunities for revival. Overall, the coronavirus has made a difficult year more challenging, pushing me to understand that I need to express my gratitude as action. And that aptly, this whole rise of service orientation, we've lived in a very porous bubble all along, as this child says, and I think we see things and we turn a blind eye to them every day. And this has, the migrant worker crisis and so many others, it has put it all on the front page. The inequity in learning has been put on the front page, and many of our children have started up initiatives for teaching, for coaching, for raising funding for schools, for footwear for migrant workers, raising funding through baking. There's such a awareness programs. There's such a huge rise of that service orientation. And there are many students that have looked at service orientation as simply creating happiness, propagating happiness and emotional support to other teenagers and to larger communities, acknowledging that they have feelings of depression and therefore so must others. What can we do to share that? At Need, we've always felt that our salvation will come from our children wanting to build a more equal future. More equal, more fair world, and I think this is the time that our children are opportunity to that. And I think it's fabulous to see these children, recognizing the gratitude that they need to have. And it's not as if everyone is on that side. Of course, there are some that are struggling emotionally themselves, their families that are struggling. But I think largely this rise of gratitude, service, ethical orientation, asking the ethical questions, I think that has been just huge.
Thank you, Kavita. Thank you, Shukla. And wish you good luck with being back at school.
Thank you all so much for listening to Learning Matters, a podcast where we discuss all matters related to learning. How did you feel about this podcast? Do you have any ideas or questions? Do share them with us on TTF app and discuss with us using that discussion forum. TTF will be back with another edition of Learning Matters shortly. Don't forget to tune in. Till then, stay safe, be positive, and keep learning. Thank you.